Thursday, November 5, 1942. Dear Kitty, the British have finally scored a few successes in Africa and Stalingrad hasn't fallen yet. So the men are happy and we had coffee and tea this morning. For the rest, nothing special to report. This week I've been reading a lot and doing little work. That's the way things ought to be. That's surely the road to success. Mother and I are getting along better lately, but we are never close. Father's not very open about his feeling, but he is the same sweetheart he's always been. We lit the stove a few days ago, and the entire room is still filled with smoke. I prefer central heating, and I'm probably not the only one. Margaret's a stinker. There's no other word for it. A constant source of irritation, morning, noon, and night. Anne Frank. Saturday, November 7, 1942. Dearest Kitty, Mother's nerves are very much on edge, and that doesn't bode well for me. It is just a coincidence that Father and Mother never scold Margaret and always blame me for everything. Last night, for example, Margaret was reading a book with beautiful illustrations. She got up and put the book aside for later. I wasn't doing anything, so I picked it up and began looking at the pictures. Margaret Crane, Karen, back, saw her book in my hand, knitted her brow, and crossly demanded the book back. I wanted to look through it a bit more. Margaret got angrier by the minute, and Mother butted in. Margaret was reading that book. Give it back to her. Father came in and without even knowing what was going on, saw that Margaret was being wronged and lashed out at me. I'd like to see what you'd do if Margaret was looking at one of your books. I promptly gave in, but put the book down and, according to them, left the room in a huff. I was neither huffy nor cross, but merely sad. It wasn't right of Father to pass judgment without knowing what this issue was. I would have given the book to Margaret myself and a lot sooner. If Father and Mother hadn't hadn't inverted and rushed to take Margaret's part, as if she was suffering from great injustice. Of course, Mother took Margaret's side. They always take each other's side. I'm so confused to it I'm so used to it that I've become completely indifferent to Mother's rebukes and Margaret's moodiness. I love them, but only because they're Mother and Margaret. I don't give a dash about them as people. As far as I'm concerned, they can go jump in a lake. It's different with Father. When I see him being partial to Margaret, approving Margaret's every action, praising her, hugging her, I feel a gnawing ache inside, but because I'm mad about him. I model myself after Father, and there's no one in the world I love more. He doesn't realize that he treats Margaret indifferently from me. Margaret just happens to be the cleverest, the kindest, the prettiest, and the best. But I have a right to be taken seriously too. I've always been the clown and mischief maker of the family. I've always had to pay double for my sins, once with scolding and then again with my own sense of despair. I'm no longer satisfied with the meaningless affection or the supposedly serious talks. I long for someone from Father that he's incapable of giving. I long for something from Father that he's incapable of giving. I'm not jealous of Margaret, I never have been. I'm not envious of her brains or her beauty. It's just that I'd like to feel that Father really loves me. Not because I'm his child, but because I'm me, Anne. I cling to Father because my contempt of Mother is growing daily, and it's only through him that I am able to retain the last ounce of family feeling I have left. He doesn't understand what I sometimes need to vent my feelings for Mother. He doesn't want to talk about it, and he avoids some discussion involving Mother's failing. And yet Mother, with all her shortcomings, is toughest for me to deal with. I don't know how I should behave. I can't very well confront her with her carelessness, her sarcasm, and her hard-heartedness, yet I can't continue to take the blame for everything. I'm the opposite of Mother, so of course we clash. I don't mean to judge her. I don't have the right. I simply looking at her as a mother. She's not a mother to me. I have to mother myself. I've cut myself adrift from them. I'm charting my own course, and we'll see where it leads me. I have no choice because I can picture what a mother and a wife should be and can't seem to find anything of the sort in the woman I'm supposed to call mother. I tell myself time and again to overlook mother's bad example. I only want to see her good points and to look inside myself for what's lacking in her. But it doesn't work. The worst part is that father and mother doesn't realize their own inadequacies and how much I blame them for letting me down. Are there any parents who can make their children completely happy? Sometimes I think God is trying to test me, but now and in the future, I'll have to become a good person on my own without anyone to serve as a model or advise me. But it'll make me stronger in the end. Who else but me is going to read these letters? Who else but me can I trust to for comfort? I'm frequently in need of consolation. I often feel weak, and more often than not, I fail to meet expectations. I know this, and every day I resolve to do better. They aren't consistent in the treatment of me. One day they say that Anne's a sensible girl and entitled to know everything, and the next that Anne's a silly noodle who doesn't know a thing and yet imagines she's learned all she needs to know from books. I'm no longer the baby and spoiled little darling whose every deed can be laughed at. I have my own ideas, plans, and ideals, but I'm unable to articulate them yet. Oh well, so much comes into my head at night and when I'm alone or during the day when I'm obliged to put with people I can't abide or who invariably misinterpret my intention. That's why I always come back to my diary. I start here and end there because Kitty is always patient. I promise her that despite everything, I'll keep going and that I'll find my own way and choke back my tears. I only wish I could see some results or just once receive encouragement from someone who loves me. Don't condemn me, but think of me as a person who sometimes reaches the bursting point. Yours, Anne. Monday, November 9, 1942. Dearest Kitty, yesterday was Peter's birthday, his 16th. I was upstairs by 8, and Peter and I looked at his present. He received a game of Monopoly, a razor, and a cigarette lighter. Not that he smokes so much, not at all. It just looks so distinguished. The biggest surprise came from Mr. Vanden, who reported at once that the English had landed in Tunis, Algiers, Casablanca, and Oran. This is the beginning of the end, everyone was saying, but Churchill, the British Prime Minister, who must have heard the same thing being repeated in England, declared, "This is not the end, it is not even the beginning of the end, it is perhaps the end of the beginning." Do you see the difference? However, there's reason for optimism. Stalingrad, the Russian city that has been under attack for 3 months, still hasn't fallen into Germans' hand. In the true spirit of the annex, I should talk to you about food. I should explain that they're real gluttons up on the top floor. Bread is delivered daily by a very nice baker, a nice friend of Mr. Clemens. Of course, we don't have as much as we did at home, but it's enough. We also purchase ration book on the black market. The price keeps going up. It's already risen from 27 to 33 guilders, and that for mere sheets of printed paper to provide ourselves with a source of nutrition that will keep. Aside from the 100 tins of food we've stored here, we bought 300 pounds of beans, not just for us but for the office staff as well. We'd hung the sack of beans on hooks in the hallway just inside our secret entrance, but a few steams split under the weight, so we decided to move them to the attic, and Peter was entrusted with the heavy lifting. He managed to get 5 of the 6 sacks upstairs intact and was busy with the last one when the sack broke and a flood, or rather a hailstorm of brown beans went flying through the air and down the stairs. Since there was about 50 pounds of beans in the sack, it made enough noise to raise the dead. Downstairs they were sure the house was falling down around their head. Peter was stunned, but then burst into peals of laughter when he saw me, standing at the bottom of the stairs like an island in a sea of brown, with waves of beans lapping at my ankles. We promptly began picking them up, but beans are so small and slippery that they roll into every conceivable corner and hole. Now, each time we go upstairs, we bend over and hunt around so we can represent Mrs. Van Daan with a handful of beans. I almost forgot to mention that father has recovered from his illness. Yours Anne. P.S. The radio has just announced that Algiers has fallen. Morocco, Casablanca, and Oran have been in English hands for several days. We are now waiting for Tunis.